Yes, y'all. We're back again. We are here. We are live. We are ready to delve right into another episode today. Today, I wanted to talk about why you question your inner authority. Why do you question your inner authority? So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, my name is Odessa. I am a doctorate of natural medicine, soul therapist, womb wellness coach, all of the things mind, body, soul, and womb wellness. And I love to come here onto my different platforms and share this knowledge with you in hopes that you can open up your own awareness, your own capabilities, and move into um, new levels of existence as women, as men, as people, non-binaries, as however you choose to identify. So, I wanted to talk today, start off by talking about people who have a hard time seeing themselves as whole. There are a lot of people who have a difficult time viewing themselves or seeing themselves as a whole person, as a whole being. You know, you've acquired X amount of information, acquired X amount of experience, acquired X amount of accolades, like you have particular aspects all together, or within yourself, you feel as though you have it all together. Like these are some of the definitions of how we consider ourselves to be whole, right? And within this, there are a lot of people who don't actually relate to that, or don't feel as though they've arrived, don't feel as though they're whole, or might feel as though they've been working towards something their whole life and they still can't seem to gain any traction, or be successful in what it is that they're doing. So, having a hard time seeing themselves whole, and having a hard time seeing themselves move beyond doing anything outside of what they're doing. So that's another aspect to do it, right? There's knowing that there's more to life than just, whatever it is that you're doing. You're every day going to work, you're caring for children, or you're hanging out with your friends, or you're, dealing with your loved ones. But it's important for us to begin to start identifying what it is that we need to do and why we need to do it. Why are you feeling the way that you feel? Why is it that although you are here, you're created in the image and likeness of, you don't feel as though you're whole? You don't feel as though you are a whole being. Like, where is that coming from? Where does that break in your reality come from? Who told you that? Who told you something different than what you are? Right? And this is important because it shows up in everybody's life in different ways. It shows up in different categories of your life and how you behave, how you act, how you respond, and how you maintain. Right? Part of the root causes that I'm seeing here, and I've mentioned this in my previous lives, but I think it's so important, in the previous episodes to reiterate so that we understand the nature of what we're dealing with. The first level of dissonance in the root cause has to do with the medical system, right? We will experience health issues. Example, like a lot of the women who I work with, first of all, let me back up. I work predominantly with women. I have a very high percentage of women who I work with, womb carriers, people who identify as females or queer, right? And there's a lot of people who will go to visit their primary caregivers for various reasons. Oftentimes there's a hormonal issue, potentially, period problems, fibroids, infertility, PCOS, menopause, what have you, and going to the doctor and having conversations with them about what's happening, what you've been feeling, things that you can't see, but you suspect, and you don't feel validated. Now, there are many doctors, many practitioners who are getting better, who are more open, who believe and know that there is more to existence than just science and facts and cold, hard facts, right? So, but if you don't have a practitioner, if you haven't met practitioners who can support that, this is not a part of your reality. Right? So the medical system being one, you're not feeling well, you're moving, in your life trying to figure out what's happening. You're speaking with your primary caregivers, and there's a little bit of gaslighting going on. So you're not getting the results that you want. So you're stuck. So you're not your whole person. You don't feel as though you are your whole person because your health is telling you this and you haven't found a remedy. Maybe you haven't looked for it, or maybe you have. And maybe the option you were given was like a synthetic medication or something of the nature, but you don't feel whole because now you have to take care of this part that's suffering, right? It's bothering you. The second aspect that I wanted to mention was religious trauma, religious discord, religion as a root problem as to why you don't feel whole. We're told that we're born into sin. We're told that basically anything, especially as women, oh, it's our fault, right? It's our fault that Eve ate the apple. I mean, depending on whose story you follow, right? You can get different variations of what that truth is. But based off of the religious trauma that you have, you might have weak faith in yourself because you don't necessarily believe. And this is where I brought it up. Hey, greetings. I brought this up in a previous episode where I was explaining, like there's this whole aspect of our inner authority that is questioned. If we're supposed to be made in the image and the likeness thereof, and if we believe that there is a source that is bigger and higher and greater than us, and if we are made in that image, then we are that. But many people will not use those phrases because it will seem as though it's blasphemous. But the other aspect to that is there's a level of disbelief that we carry. Yes, you can repeat the phrases and say all these wonderful things, but you'll repeat it to yourself or you'll read it, but you may not say it out loud, and you may not even believe it. I was mentioning that, our imagination and our intuition have been messed with, right? Where we will look at, cartoons and, Disney movies and fairy tales and say it's not real. But then look at folklore, look at, religion, and say that's real. And then look deeper into spirituality and then look at the feats that were performed in those times, right? And say, wow, that's crazy. But then when someone is able to do it here today now, we say, no, that's not true. Where is the disconnect? Where is the disconnect? If you don't believe, then you don't believe in yourself, then you're already at a disadvantage, right? You're questioning your own authority given to you, divinely given to you, just by the virtue of you being born, right? Can you imagine all these things that we don't necessarily continue? And the third being education. Education. There are so many different scholars who have come out and talked about, the truth about education and what it's there for. And I mentioned this also in the previous live where I was explaining that it's really there to make us into good workers. Come into your job, you get 15 minutes break, a half an hour, lunch, and maybe 15 minutes break in the afternoon, do a great job, and you can come back and do it again. At school, you'll get a good mark for it. In the job, you may get a raise. There's no guarantee. So then there's this whole level of, I've gone to school because I needed to. My parents said that if I was going to stay in the house, I needed to do it. And my parents also said that, if you're going to go into the world, you need to, have a great job. And then on top of that, being a woman of color, being darkly pigmented, it's like, okay, you have to work harder. And you've got all of these other barriers and challenges that you have to face. And so you go into the world and here you are with your your battle axe, and you're fighting through to achieve all of these, goals, and you're achieving them, quote unquote. You graduate, you get a good job, you're working, and you don't feel good. You've gone through the whole gamut of learning what you're supposed to learn in the educational system, and you've stepped out of the educational system and have gone on to achieve the goals that they have told you are what you needed to achieve to feel as though you've quote unquote, achieved something, run on sentence here, but you don't feel good about what you've done. So education, medication, and religion. These three have been tampered with in such a way that allows us the opportunity to give our belief, our faith, and our trust to external sources and not place them on ourselves. Not in a way that would encourage our growth, not in a way that would encourage our growth, our evolution, right? That puts us in a position of feeling whole, of seeing ourselves as whole, as acting as though we're whole, and being that around people. And in turn, we would see that in the external environment, right? In our health and how people talk to us and how people regard us and what we choose to do and the kind of responses that come back to us, right? So knowing that, right, I've just kind of spelt this out for us. So I started off with saying that we sometimes have a hard time seeing ourselves as whole. And then I went on to say that some of the reasons why we don't see ourselves as whole is because of systemic conditioning, right? We have education, we have religion, and we have medical systems that have put us through particular cycles, right? And then you have your community that's enforcing it. You know, like, what do you mean you're going to try something else, girl? Like, what? Like, why don't you just go and do what you're supposed to do? Why don't you do what you're supposed to? Why don't you, like, whatever they said to do is what you should be doing. But once you come to the realization and the revelation that something within the structure, within your own personal matrix is not functioning right. Once you, and I've seen this, no sound. Oh, this is not good. Oh, volume. Oh no, you all are telling me you're not hearing me. This is not good. I know on YouTube, they've got me. Oh, this is not good at all. Can you guys hear me now? Oh, I don't like when this happens. Oh, and I was starting to pull up on some no sound. Okay, I'm going to cut out and I'm going to come back in again. Okay, I'm going to end it and I'm going to come back in. So y'all work with me here as I just set up my Instagram again. Okay, I'm back again. I was told by some of my followers that you weren't getting any volume on my live, so I don't know. I don't know why that happened. So what I will do, because I'm still streaming here. Hi, let me know if you have any sound now. What I will do, because I'm still here streaming on YouTube, I'm just going to do a quick recap for those who are going to join this new live on Instagram and for those who are going to watch the replay. Awesome. So I'm getting hearts. I think you've got the volume. Awesome. Okay. So basically, I started off by saying that many of us have a difficult time seeing ourselves as whole, seeing ourselves as whole people. Although you've achieved, although you've gone out, you have people around you, you're doing all the things, something inside still feels as though it's lacking. Some of the root causes for these have to do with medical system, right? You're not feeling well, you're going to visit your primary caregiver and you're not getting the results that you were hoping to get. You might be getting medication and now you have this appendage of medication that you have to take to alleviate the discomfort that you're feeling in your body, but it doesn't change how you're feeling and it doesn't change, that discord within yourself that you're feeling. So that's education as one of the root causes. Sorry, medical system is one of the root causes. Education is another root cause because why? We are trained to enter school at 9. I used to go to school for 9. You have 15-minute break, 30-minute lunch, 15-minute break, and then you finish school, you go home, you do your homework, and you come back. You're rewarded with a good grade if you get good marks, or you fail if you don't get good marks. You get in detention trouble, so you want to be a good child. When you leave school, you're going to replicate this in the business, in your work, in your job, wherever you go, right? You're going to stand in line, you're going to be good, you're going to be docile, you're going to wait. You're going to do all the things. You're going to rush. You're going to look to achieve the, accolades, the goals that are told a person needs to achieve to feel validated, to look as though they have a semblance of, importance in this world. But oftentimes, once you've gone through the process of achieving your goals, if you don't have a certain level of awareness in your life and about things that you're doing, you may still feel unfulfilled. The third level of trauma that I wanted to mention was religion, because religion puts us, especially women, religion puts us in a particular, position where we feel as though we're less than. You're automatically born into sin. Everything that you're thinking is sinful. Everything that you're doing is sinful. And so you're just not whole from the beginning. And you spend your life looking for that other person to make you whole, right? The way that we regard ourselves, the way that we view ourselves, it's not whole. It's not holistic, right? Our imagination and our intuition has been tampered with. We're told that we're made in the image and likeness thereof, but we don't believe it. When we close our eyes and we try to, mimic the same things or talk about the same things, the miracles, that we have heard people do, or we hear people doing, we don't believe it because our own imagination and our intuition has been messed with, right? We will watch the Disney movies, with awe and say these were great. And then we'll watch the folklore within religious stories, and we'll say, oh, this is great. And we'll say that religion is real, but we don't necessarily believe in the amazing feats that these people have accomplished. And then we look at these, videos and these movies of people doing the same thing and say, well, that's not true. So we are really being, put against ourselves, and we don't even realize it. And so this is where I was going when the live cut off, right? I was moving into the next phase of how to move through this, right? So a better way to approach, I have two ways of approaching this, right? Because the question is, are you feeling whole? Do you view yourself as whole? And oftentimes we don't. And the root causes have to do with systemic issues that our community, our family, our people, they uphold, right? So the first thing that I tell everyone to do is get an understanding of your baseline standard of health. How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Who feels like that around you? Who lives that life around you? And how can you organize yourself accordingly, right? Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Why? Because we tend to just say, I'm going to go and work out and I'm going to drink some water and I'm going to feel better. It doesn't work like that. Your physical body might be exhausted and it'll feel good after being hydrated, but you want to know something? Your thoughts are still the same. The way your emotions, those energy emotions are moving through your body, they're still being influenced by the same thing that started it in the first place, right? So you don't necessarily, you don't have anything that's different. You're not able to move differently in your own experience. So by getting a baseline standard of health, where am I right now? What's working? What is not working for me? Right? What's working? What is not working for me? What are the people around me doing? Because this whole 5 people who you have in your life, you reflect them. It's the truth. What are the people around me doing? What are they striving for? What are they, you know what I mean? What are they putting up boundaries against? Right? So when you look at your personal baseline standard of health, that's how I want you to begin. I mean, I get really, really like in depth with this with my clients, especially as you start layering on, the new patterns and habits that you're developing for yourself, on your wellness journey. So first of all, starting off there, your baseline standard of health. The second thing that I want you to consider when you're looking at needing to feel happy, healthy, and whole, when it comes to the process of beginning to see yourself as whole, as you're looking at your baseline standard of health, okay, and this is where it starts to get a little bit more in depth. And this is what I do with my clients when we do our MAP process, multidimensional awareness and assessment protocol. You're going to look at your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual life, right? And you're going to look at, yes, what am I doing right now that's working? What am I not doing right now that's working? And what is the minimum that I need in terms of people, places, things, food to feel good? Okay, put that to the side. Then you're going to write down, in each category, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Get your pens out. Your wants, your needs, your desires, your expectations, and your violations of self. Huh? Your wants. So physically, what do I want? What do I need? What do I desire? What are my expectations? And what is a violation? Emotionally, what do I want? What do I need? What is my desire? What is my expectation? And what is a violation? And you do the same thing. You go down the list mentally, spiritually, and you answer these, because what this helps to do, it helps to raise your level of awareness. What have I been doing? What am I doing now? And how can I acclimatize myself, calibrate myself, right? And situate myself in a position that would help me to align to the energetic truth of who I am, internally and externally. And then this will help you to step closer into understanding who you are and how you feel as a whole person. I have to drop a testimonial here. I have to drop a testimonial here. Before doing this live, I got on a call with a client. We were reviewing the work that we had been doing, and we had to take a pause, and we were about to start the work again. And this particular person, it was hilarious. We were laughing at our session. Sometimes she would call me and be like, I can't come in. And I'm like, no, you can, because I know you. She's a good friend of mine. And what happens is sometimes we, make excuses for reasons why we can't come on the call or we can't do something, and so my job as a facilitator is to hold you to the fire, hold you accountable. So we got through most of our sessions, and then we had to take a break. I got on a call with her this morning, and she had me grinning so much. Like my face was hurting me because I was so happy for her. I was so elated. A few things that she said, I actually wrote these notes down. The first thing she said was, my reality is undeniable to me. My reality is undeniable to me. Okay. That is so powerful, because this means that her level of awareness of who she is, what she has been doing, and the direction that she wants to go, they may not all be in sync, but they're definitely syncing up. So that was just, first of all, for her. And then she began to talk about this level of self-sabotage. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I began feeling so good in myself and in my body, and things were starting to go so well that I began to self-sabotage at work. I said, what do you mean? She says, I was planting little bombs, telling people what my new boundaries were, deciding that I wasn't going to do this or do that, which led to a meeting where her bosses, they let her go. They fired her. I clutched my pearls. I said, girl, are you serious? Because we hadn't spoken in a while. I said, are you serious? This is what happened? She says, they were so surprised at my response. That morning, they called me in and they said, they gave their spiel. And I said, you know what? I thank you all so much for the time here, for the work that you've done. And she says, they were so shocked. Was she expecting to be fired? No, she wasn't. But she says to me that she recognizes that she had planted those bombs. She was looking over the things that she had said, right? Because in our conversations, in our initial conversations, she was struggling with having time for herself. She was struggling with being gentle. She was struggling with being kind to herself, right? The forcing and the going and the pushing and the needing to do for her job, needing to do for her children. Children are 10 and 13 years old and still like doing things that you would do for like 2 and 3-year-olds, right? Has a husband who is very, goal oriented and has to do. And the conversations in the house are like, laundry has to be done. This has to be done. That has to be done. And this final piece of our conversation. We were rolling. We were rolling. She said that she had a conversation with her husband, letting her know that in this season of her life, she was no longer going to be forcing and pushing, right? Like they're sitting down, there's laundry that has to be done. And she looked at him and said, the laundry will get done. I was like, oh my gosh, this is big. But then she said, he himself is feeling the pressure because she's not working, right? So she's not necessarily there to be like, okay, it's two of us working together. But he got up and she said he was so upset and irritated, like, I can't go on like this. I've been doing this for so long and nothing is this and that and something has to give. And she says, Odessa, in that moment, I was able to hold my peace and support my partner in the space that he was in. But I didn't have to let go of my peace to support the state of mind that he was in. That was amazing. She has her clients that she's working on. She has a new retreat that she's working on. She has all these new projects that she's going forward to do that she was not able to do when she had her job, her 9-to-5 job. Anytime we were trying to get on our coaching calls, it was like, you can't do it during the day, you got to do it at night. And even at night, only after the children go to bed. And then, there's so much. But this is a part of her process of learning how to step into her wholeness, how to, first of all, become aware, right? How to foster this level of awareness. I am an individual who has needs. I have dreams. I have creative processes. I have creative projects that I want to work on, right? And by the standards that I was given, I was told that this is what it looked like to be a good mother. This is what it looked like to be a good wife. This is what it looks like to be a great employee. And this is what it looks like when your life is together. And she had all of those pieces together and was not feeling fulfilled. And so to witness this transformation as she cultivated her journey to the point that she's in, it was so validating for me because I was having a tough week. I don't know about anybody else, but this solstice energy has been kick your butt, wake up. So having that conversation with her was so validating for the both of us, right? This is the work that needs to be done. This is the direction that we, can take to help bring in more happiness, healthiness, joy, love, peace in our lives. And so if this resonates with you, let me know. #replay. You can come into the comments. Let me know what your top takeaways are, because I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what your personal experiences are. And if this is something that you're interested in, you can sign up to my newsletter, weekly newsletter that goes out, giving you more tips, tricks, hints, and suggestions as to how you can cultivate your mind, body, soul, and wellness. And if it's not for you, you don't feel like signing up to my email list, then that's okay. I'll catch you on my other lives, my other episodes, and you can still feel free to share and subscribe to my platforms and my podcast and all the wonderful things. So y'all take care. I'll be back again soon to share with you the love and passion that I have for this work. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are when you watch this. Be well.